Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Thursday, March 6th. Stalling at tariff talks means acceleration in the markets, but economic fears seem to be back on track this morning, which means markets are trading off. Yesterday, during regular trading, all three major indices closed sharply higher. The Dow jumped 485 points, or 1.14%. The S&P 500 gained 64 points, or 1.12%. The Nasdaq advanced 267 points, or nearly 1.5%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're down. We're negative. We're down 1.25% this morning. A lot of red on the screen. There's a lot of reasons for this downside market activity going on. You can say, oh, well, the employment data is, coming out today and tomorrow, the non-farms payroll. Yesterday, you had the ADP data, which was weak. Was very weak, actually. So these employment data trends have been weakening, and today you get the jobless claims report. Now that's a key one ahead of tomorrow's non-farm payrolls report. But I really look at this market and I say that it's the tariff news that's really moving it. I mean, Trump's decision for a 1-month reprieve on auto tariffs, so that's kind of minor considering his administration has tariff action plans on every country and category you can imagine, and they're going to be announced like within the next month. So that makes markets nervous because it's uncertain, and the markets react negatively to policy uncertainty. And we're clearly in a period of uncertainty because we don't know what these tariffs are going to be. Trump issues them, he pulls them back, he reissues them a little bit. That nervousness is clearly evident in the markets, and that's creating a lot of nervousness. You saw that in these consumer sentiment economic reports that were recently released. I mean, it just showed you that everybody's really concerned about the uncertainty about inflation and tariffs. And yesterday you had the Beige Book, and again, it was very cautionary. It was, we're worried about tariffs, we're worried about what's happening on the inflation front as well. So yeah, we got a lot of negativity in the air this morning. But on the earnings front, listen, we had some positive earnings come out. JD.com, Macy's, Zscaler, they're all trading higher after their releases. And after the bell today, you got Broadcom, ticker AVGO, you got Costco, ticker COST, you got Gap Stores, ticker GAP, and Hewlett Packard, ticker HPE. They're all releasing, and there's an ECB announcement today, and they're looking to cut rates. When they make that announcement this morning. So, yeah, we do have a lot going on. But let's take a look at what's happening overseas real quick, and we're going to start off, with the DAX. And listen, the DAX is actually trading higher. It's up 77 points, or 0.34%. That's positive, and you're seeing that index. It really is extending its gains from yesterday, and the auto stocks are moving higher, so that's kind of nice to see. London, the FTSE, on the other hand, is down 87 points, or 1%. Corporate earnings results really came in weaker than expected. That's what's causing a lot of the weakness in London. And the CAC in Paris is down 40 points, or 0.5%, with weakness in the luxury stocks. Then we're moving over to Asia. Asia generally saw gains. I mean, we hit the Nikkei climb is 0.77%. Now, the Trump's reversal on auto tariffs, kind of helped the fears in Japan of their country getting hit with tariffs. They're going to get hit with tariffs. There's no question, but it did help allay them a little bit, and so that's why you saw the Nikkei jump by 0.77% last night. Hong Kong, the Hang Seng, another big day. Yesterday was up over 2%. Today, this morning, it was up over 3%. It was up 3.29%. That's the third straight day of gains. And, the index is at its highest level in over 3 years, with all sectors rallying. And it's really because of what's going on in China. In China, the Shanghai market was up 1.17%, and tech stocks really led that leg higher. The gains really came due to that two sessions meeting or the National People's Congress, I think it's also called. Um, they're going to be focused on advancing the tech innovation and boosting domestic consumption. That was good enough to have the Shanghai market move higher and the Hang Seng moved along with it. Now we're turning our attention over to oil for a second. Now, oil is, it is trading higher. We're up over half of 1%, which is good to see. You got WTI at $66.80 a barrel. You got Brent at $69.74 a barrel, both under 70. Interesting. But remember, sentiment is cautious due to these tariffs and possible retaliatory measures. The feeling is this is going to slow economic growth. And when you slow economic growth, you weaken oil demand. Yesterday, those EIA oil stockpile report came in, showed a build of 3.61 million barrels. That's negative. So, that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update this morning, Emily.
And Bill, you mentioned cautiousness there when it comes to oil, and there's a sort of a general cautiousness, throughout the markets. Obviously, we're watching a number of factors, but one of those factors that you did mention that might be slightly positive this morning are earnings action. So let's start there. Give us a rundown of what we should be watching when it comes to earnings action.
We're going to start off with Zscaler, ticker ZS, Zebra Sam. Listen, they beat by 9 cents. They did it on higher revenue. You see the stock this morning, and it's trading up by 3.34%. It's got room to go. It's got room to move higher. Last night, it traded all the way up to 211. I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, Zscaler was a big runner last night. Viva Systems, ticker VEEV, Victor, Edward, Victor. They beat by 16 cents, and they did it on higher revenue. That stock's up 5.95% this morning. Marvel Technologies, ticker MRVL, Michael, Richard, Victor, Larry. They beat by a penny. They did it on higher revenue. Street's not loving it. Stock's down 17.86% this morning. Then there's JD.com. They delivered a strong beat. I think, things are looking good for the company. If you look at the stock, it's up 5.16% this morning. Upcoming after the bell, you got Costco Wholesale, ticker COST, Charlie Oscar, Sam Tom. EPS is $4.09. Expected move is 4.37%. You also have AVGO, Apple, Victor, Grace, Oscar. That's Broadcom. EPS is $1.50. Expected move is 9.77%. And the Gap. The Gap is also the retailers. The Gap, Gap stores. They're also reporting their EPS is 36 cents. Expected move is 12.36% when they were released after the bell today. Emily.
Bill, you did mention JD.com in there, and that was your pick of the day yesterday, up more than 5%. We will do a full check-in on that by the end of the show, even though we may have given it a hint. We'll see how that pick of the day worked out. Some positive action there. And when it comes to economic events, we pointed out this overall cautiousness. So keeping track of economic data and Fed speak each trading day, it becomes important because we're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, trying to collect the data that policymakers are using in order to make decisions moving forward. And that includes all of this economic data and getting clues from that Fed speak. So, Bill, give us a rundown of what we should be watching when it comes to the day's economic events.
8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we have jobless claims. Also at 8:30, we have international trading, goods and services, and productivity and costs. I really think it's the jobless claims that people are going to be paying a lot of attention to. They're expected to come in at 235K versus last week's figure of 242K. I don't know. I hope it's not too conservative. This is a big week for employment data. Yesterday you had that ADP, the private payrolls report come in. That ADP report came in at 77K versus expectations of 148K. That's a big downtick. So I'm I'm very cautious when it comes to the employment data hitting the tape. In terms of Fed speak today, we get a number of Fed speakers. 8:45 a.m. we're going to hear from Philadelphia Fed Bank President Patrick Harker. At 3:30 p.m. we're going to hear from Fed Governor Christopher Waller. And then at 7 p.m. tonight, Atlanta Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic will be speaking. I believe Powell's talking tomorrow, so this might, that could be something there. But that's what I have for you in terms of an economic update, Emily.
And Bill, you're keeping track of all of that information using your NewsWare. You're following along with those earnings reports, with your earnings alert. You have an economic alert set up. Also, a Fed Speak alert set up, and this helps you keep track of all the trends on the trading day. And as if that's not enough information to keep track of, you are still following other types of news and information. You're watching things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, catalyst calls. You're also watching your stocks group together, like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I'm doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 30 Dow stocks trading lower. I got all my FANG stocks trading lower. So yeah, it's not pretty. I'm looking at various news behind the tape like Apple. Goldman Sachs is out there saying their new products supports its revenue growth plans. Okay, listen, stock's down 1% this morning. You got Google, they're launching a YouTube Premium Lite pilot. It's a limited release and only in a few countries, not in the US. If you look at Google, it's down over 1% this morning. You got Tesla, down 2.9% this morning. A judge denies Musk's attempt to block OpenAI's for-profit shift. That's not too surprising. In terms of Dow Jones 30 stock, we're talking Microsoft, ticker MSFT, stocks down 1.63%. OpenAI is considering charging $20K a month for PhD level agents. Walmart, ticker WMT, Walmart's down 1.15% this morning. Walmart has asked some of its Chinese suppliers for major price reductions as it looks to shift the burden of President Trump's tariffs to the supplier rather than themselves. But it's facing strong pushbacks from the firms in China, not surprisingly. Another one on Microsoft, ticker MSFT, UK antitrust official said that they're not going to be launching, that they are not going to be launching a formal investigation into Microsoft's ties with ChatGPT maker OpenAI. That's positive. In terms of guidance news, we want to talk about Zscaler, ticker ZS. They see Q3 EPS coming in 75 cents to 76 cents. Street estimate 74 cents. Yeah, that's an uptick. Viva, ticker VEEV, Victor Edward Victor. They see Q1 adjusted EPS coming in at $1.74 to $1.75. Street estimates at $1.62. That's a big uptick. Marvell, ticker MRVL. They see Q1 adjusted EPS coming in plus or minus 61 cents, plus or minus 5 cents. Street estimate is at 60 cents. Okay, it's in the middle. It's okay. Burlington Stores, ticker BURL. They see full year 2026 adjusted EPS coming in $8.70 to $9.30. Street estimates $9.43. That's a big downtick. In terms of shareholders events going on, Wendy's, ticker WEN, William Edward Nancy. They're having an investors day today. Could be something there. Morgan Stanley, that tech, media, and telecom conference continues today. You get firms like Walmart, Crowdsource, Pinterest, and Zscaler all attending, making presentations. That could be something there. In terms of buyback news, Grinder, GRND, Grace Richard Nancy David, they announced a 500 million share stock repurchasing plan last night. In terms of catalyst calls, FTAI, Frank Tom Apple, India, Citibank adds FTAI Aviation to its 90-day positive catalyst watch list. And, that's what I have for you about news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill continuing to sift through data to look for opportunities, no matter which way the market is swinging today. So what is your pick of the day today?
I'm going to do Broadcom, AVGO, Apple, Victor, Grace, Oscar. I mean, earnings are due out after the bell. EPS is $1.50. Expected move is 9.19%. Okay. You look at yesterday's call volume, 126,670 versus 97,516. That's positive. Open interest is about even, 997, 971 versus to 959, 224. All right. Major brokers do like the stock. They do have overweight ratings. Some are raising price targets, but the key really is the entry price. I mean, listen, this is a big sell-off. I mean, the stock's already down hard. It's already down, 4.7%, and I think it's going to go lower. I'm hoping to get in at a print of 180-ish, 180.50, I'd say, because I really do think at that price level, I'll have the opportunity to make that 1% gain. I don't really want to hold it into earnings. I want to get in, get out. So if I think that if I can get in, there's additional weakness, which is likely going to happen at the opening. I should be able to get in at this 180.50 level-ish and then run it for 1% because I don't think it's going to stay this down, this week throughout the trading day, especially as we head into earnings. So, Broadcom, ticker AVGO, Apple Victor Grace Oscar, at 180.50. That's my pick of the day, Emily.
Bill, using a strategy where you're looking for a specific entry point after a sell-off that you think was overdone, looking for a discount and running into earnings, a similar strategy that you used yesterday with JD.com. And even though we may have given it away a little bit, we will do a recap on that pick of the day in just a moment. But before we get there, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Musk's out there saying that his rocket company, SpaceX, they deny that they want to take over the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration's telecommunications contract. And, Marvel, their first quarter revenue was in line with Wall Street estimates yesterday, but the chipmaker stock just took a hit because it failed to excite investors. That's really what you're seeing with the MRVL. What else we got going on here? Fastenal, ticker FASD, reports net sales up 5%. Ooh, that's nice. That's good on the manufacturing front. CMG, Charlie Michael Grace, Chipotle says Chipotle honey chicken now available in North America and Europe. Guess that's possible. HIMS, HIMS, HIMS and hers lower after judge denies compounder's motion for injunction. Alibaba's up 2% after launching an AI model on par with DeepSeek's R1. Jacobs, ticker J, awarded a cybersecurity contract with the U.S. wastewater utility. Robinhood selects CQG for order routing. That's probably not a good idea. They don't understand the volume that options and equity trading does. They focus mainly on commodities. That could be an issue there. BJ's Wholesale's membership fee income increased 7.9%. Trump's executive order draft calls for the elimination of the education department, according to the Wall Street Journal. Microsoft warns Chinese hackers now target IT supply chain. Kenvue, ticker KVUE, they added 3 new board members in a move to appease shareholder activist firm Starboard, including the chief CEO of Starboard. That was interesting. I saw that in a note this morning. Herbalife, Moody's revised its rating on Herbalife to stable from negative. Microsoft has moved away from some of its agreements with NVIDIA-backed cloud computing provider CoreWeave over delivery issues and missed deadline. All right, that's not a problem. Novo Nordisk, company will explore how GLP-1 drugs can help patients struggling with addiction. That's all I'm seeing this morning.
Okay, Bill, let's take a deep breath here, gathering all of that information to prepare for this trading day ahead. And before we get to trading, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day. We pointed it out. Was JD.com. You did give us a preview of the stock during your earnings report. JD.com reported Q4 EPS of $1.02 and total revenue rose 13% year over year, with Q4 revenue coming in at $47.54 billion. Their profit nearly tripled. Revenue jumped as consumer spending rebounded, and they had their best sales growth since 2022. The CEO does expect better consumption trends in 2025, driven by a pickup in domestic demand, AI adoption, among other factors. Really positive report there, Bill. The stock is positive this morning. How did your call work out?
Worked out very well. I mean, the fact of the matter is, what did I say? I said get in under 42. That was my call yesterday. Now the stock opened up at $42.44. Then it fell down to $41.92 under that $42 mark. Then it ran hot and it hit a high of $44.19 before closing at $43.76. And then this morning it's already hit a high of $48.43. It's currently trading $45.80. But I mean, if you got in under 42 and you're getting out now at 45, I mean, you definitely made well more than 1%. So JD.com was a winner any way you look at it. It was a good, solid pick. The data was there. It looked good. Everything added up. I like JD.com, so I'm happy to say that it was a good pick and a good moneymaker yesterday, Emily.
Bill, you called it with that one, and we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Broadcom pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow to end your trading week with NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.